The most boring week in sports is here. Baseball's on its All-Star break. Summer League is going on in the NBA. No hockey. The week before NFL training camps begin. So I asked the question, should All-Star games in all sports just be stopped and done away with? Because the players don't want to do it. The fans just want to complain about it. Is there a way to make them better? I don't know. We're going to talk about it. We're going to overreact to the Phillies, the Sixers, the Eagles, all that kind of stuff. Home run derbies tonight. We'll talk about that as well. Guys, trending in the AM, Overreaction Monday. So let's overreact a little bit. We're live in 30 seconds. And a very good morning, everybody, and welcome to Trending in the AM right here on the STT Sports Network. We are live. YouTube, Twitter, you know the drill. Wherever you're watching, hit that like button. Wherever you're watching, share it out on one of your social media platforms, and wherever you're watching, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. If you're watching on Twitter, X, make sure you head over to the STT Sports Network YouTube page and hit subscribe. It would mean a lot to me. I'd greatly appreciate it. So like, share, subscribe, and vote on our poll question. Should All-Star games be stopped in all sports? Yes, no, some should. Which ones? And I love them all. Please vote on the poll. Please like, please share, subscribe. Guys, I'm Phil Stiefel, and we got a jam-packed week, a jam-packed episode. It is the, in my opinion, most boring week in all of sports all year long. Why is that? Because baseball's on its hiatus for 4 or 5 days with an All-Star game that I could care less about. Football, we're still a week away from training camp starting. Basketball Summer League is kind of winding down already. There's no hockey going on. I mean, the most exciting things going on this week are the MLB All-Star break, the MLB draft, and the Open Championship, which I'm actually kind of hyped for the Open Championship at Royal Port Rush. That's a mouthful to say. So it's kind of like the most boring week in sports. But it leads us to a question. It leads us to a conversation about All-Star games, whether they should be stopped or not. Is there a way to fix them? Is there a way to make them more exciting? Is there a way to fix the home run derby or the dunk contest? Is there a way to make this week and All-Star games in general more attractive to the fan base? I mean, already this week with the All-Star game, and more could change today. We're already at 11 replacements added, not voted in or anything like that, replacements because of players backing out of the MLB All-Star game. The home run derby tonight lacks, just like the dunk contest, any real true star power. No Pete Alonso, no Aaron Judge. None of the big names are participating in it. We've got the drama around how these players get selected. Zack Wheeler and Kyle Schwarber, the only two Phillies, when Trea Turner has a case, when Ranger Suarez and Cristopher Sanchez should have been All-Stars, were not. And the whole process, we're going to get into that in a minute with Cristopher Sanchez and Ranger Suarez. It's just at a point now where when the players stop caring, baseball, at least All-Star game, always was the best of the bad All-Star games. But now even players are choosing that they don't want to play in it more than ever before. And now you're going to get into a scenario, just like football with the Pro Bowl, the NBA All-Star game, where these guys give less than 100% effort. Most of them choose not to play. And it's killing what used to be. I mean, I remember as a kid growing up, the All-Star game was fun, exciting. Watching, Greg Maddux mow down the American League for 3 innings. What has caused these games not to be meaningful And is there a way to fix them? Let's get right to the comments here. Good morning, Duck. How you doing? All-Star games are just a thing so we fans can see the current star players and some up-and-comers. I want to touch on the up-and-comers in a minute here because I think that's a very interesting way to maybe at the very least change the All-Star game. Good morning, Adam. How are you? Good morning, Little G. Hope you are well. Good morning, Rick. All-Star games are cool with me, but I'm not part of the cancel culture. I don't think canceling is part of cancel culture. I think it's just the players don't care as much as they. When we were growing up, Rick, you and I are about the same age. It seemed like whether it was the Pro Bowl, the NBA All-Star game, the MLB All-Star game, it seemed like the players cared. The players do not care. And that, I think, is part of the issue when you see the players not into it, that it kind of, and maybe part of it is the interleague games and how everybody plays everybody now. So you don't have that, oh, we've never seen Zack Wheeler throw against Aaron Judge before, to look forward to. Well, they make you participate. What? They should make you participate? I don't know if you could do that. Phillies players not participating in the All-Star game is a blessing. Absolutely. Zack Wheeler pulled out, focusing on the second half. Ranger Suarez he was offered a spot, said no, protecting for the second half. Cristopher Sanchez never got his All-Star nod. But the rumor is he was told, if you say, yes, I will pitch an inning, we will put you on the All-Star game, which is kind of crazy. And he had pitched just yesterday, pitched Sunday, and you wanted to pitch an inning on Tuesday? Like, really? Really? Kind of crazy when you look at that. Now, kudos to the Phillies. The Phillies know Cristopher Sanchez should have been an All-Star and paid out his $50,000 contract bonus despite him not being an All-Star this year. So kudos to the Phillies of being the better organization and rewarding their player, because the only reason why players care about the All-Star game even a little bit is because all these players have making All-Star, whether it's football, basketball, baseball, hockey, they all have All-Star game bonuses written into their contracts. So kudos to the Phillies for paying that out. What do you want? They don't see fans are important, so they don't participate. I see that. They don't think we're important. Now, to get back to your comment earlier, Duck, about, some up-and-comers getting a chance. Obviously, there's a lot of controversy because there's a pitcher pitching for the NL. I don't know if I'm going to pronounce this right. K1's not here to make fun of me yet. Jacob Mizorowski, Milwaukee pitcher. He's only pitched in 5 games so far this year? He's a young up-and-comer. Now, I think this would be a great opportunity, for baseball to use the All-Star game to kind of promote and create new stars. Get as many of the stars to play. And then have 2 or 3 young up-and-comers, guys with minimal experience or minor leaguers. Andrew Painter's not pitching well. But wouldn't it be cool to see Andrew Painter if you still had that hype, pitching in the All-Star game? Create the stars of tomorrow as they go. Have the MLB All-Stars go up against the AAA All-Stars. That would be something to discuss to maybe energize MLB All-Star break. Good morning, Bills Need Edge. How you doing? Content check. Baseball, football, basketball. It's all on the table. Bet you most of these same Phillies will participate in an All-Star game next year in Philly. I think they were just giving a big middle finger to the league this year for not adding. See, the thing is, and Rick, and I don't know if this is accurate. This is just what I read rumor-wise. They wanted to add Sanchez, but they wanted a guarantee from Sanchez that he would pitch. And he's like, look, I'm pitching on Sunday. I can't pitch on Tuesday. I get Zack Wheeler's just saying, no, I'm good. He's got a new baby at home, and whatnot. And he's caring about the world. But Sanchez, you want him to pitch an inning, and the only way you're going to give him that recognition is if he guarantees to pitch on 1 day's rest? That's ludicrous to me. It was a big middle finger to them. And I get it. And yes, the All-Star game is here in Philly, and I'm going to complain about the All-Star game all day today and all day tomorrow. And probably on Wednesday, too. But yet, with the All-Star games next year in Philly, I'm already talking about my boy Kyle, the statistician of the show, about maybe getting tickets and going to the All-Star game. NBA, NHL, MLB should make it so that whatever conference wins gets home. Well, we used to have this in baseball. And while the home field advantage in the World Series was on the line in All-Star games, everybody complained about it. Now that it's not on the line, Steve, everybody wants it back. While this was the rule in the MLB All-Star game, everybody complained because you got pitchers from the Pittsburgh Pirates, or whatever team. You want, if the Phillies right now had their home field World Series, chance on the line, and you've got to worry about, let's look at this All-Star roster here. You got to worry about, let's see, let's look at a bad team. All the relief pitchers are all good teams. But you got to rely on, actually most of them are from good teams. Mackenzie Gore getting outs in the 8th inning for your All-Star situation. Andrew Abbott. Like, really? Do you want that to be what the World Series home field advantage is put on the line? Bottom of the 9th. Do you want, let's see, Kyle Stowers up with runners on base to get the Phillies a home field advantage? We all complained about that. And now that it's not the rule anymore, now everybody wants it back. I mean, they can't make them participate and injury clauses in contracts. Absolutely agree. Can't make them participate. Got it. Yeah, maybe I'll pull. We'll see. I'm going to write it down. We'll put the power rankings up and we'll discuss them. Maybe tomorrow's show, maybe Wednesday's show. We'll break down my power rankings that I put online later. Should have bet Goddard up. I should have. And if you follow me on Twitter, you know that we'll talk about this in more detail tomorrow on Fairway to Heaven. Chris Goddard was my 6th ranked golfer this past week for the Genesis Scottish Open. I had him in half my lineups. I didn't bet him. And then 12 hours before the event, I pulled Goddard up. I'm like, Goddard up's not good. Let's pull Goddard up out of every lineup, K1. Like, really. Number 6 in my rankings this last week. And I chose not to play him or have zero investment in him. And I literally watched that whole final round yesterday, kicking myself in the ass the entire time. Phillies are comedy. Well, they limped in the All-Star break, only winning 2 of their last 6. Got a great win yesterday to go into the All-Star break kind of at least with a little positive momentum. We drafted another injury-prone dude, number 3. I'm sorry, who? What? I mean, last night we drafted Gage Wood, 26th pick in the MLB draft. Just pitched probably one of the greatest College World Series games of all time is what people are saying. 21-year-old. He's got a birthday the day after me, December 15th. Some people are already saying Gage Wood is going to be in the bullpen for the Phillies this playoff run. That I do not see. I think that's crazy, crazy expectations. Phillies got a stud with their first pick, Gage Wood from Arkansas. Dude threw a no-hitter. That has him dug. Yeah, he's nasty. He seems like I just don't know if you get drafted and then like a month later he might make the roster this year because our bullpen is trash, Rick. But less than 5 minutes after he was drafted, already putting those kind of expectations on the 21-year-old kid, it's a bit much to say he's got to be here now. It's kind of crazy how quick that is. MLB used to make the All-Star winner get home field advantage. They stopped doing it years back. Yeah, exactly. But while it was part of the rules, Rick, everybody complained about it. Okay, maybe not Steven didn't complain about it, but everybody minus Steven complained about it. And now that it's not, here we are. NFL is good talk. It is. And next week is training camp week. So excited. So excited and ready. Golf stinks. Well, golf doesn't like you either. Really, you could do math? Wow, good job. I know. I'm a one-hit wonder, Brian. I know I am. July 13th yesterday was National Con-Aid Day. What? What's your thoughts on moving Lazard to the bullpen when Nola gets back healthy? Let me. I knew that was going to become a question at some point. I haven't done the research. Give me 1 second here. I just want to see if he has any bullpen experience, Rick, real quick. I pulled up his IMDb or his baseball reference. Pitched out of the bullpen briefly in 2021 with Oakland. He doesn't have much bullpen experience. He's pitched a few times out of the bullpen. I don't hate the idea. But the thing is, right now, as it stands, when Nola comes back, he just takes Taijuan Walker's spot. I think they're really going to be extremely cautious with Andrew Painter due to the fact that he's not like lights out at this point. He's got like a 5 ERA now in AAA this year. So I think when Nola comes back, he just takes Taijuan Walker's spot. Because despite Taijuan Walker being the utmost professional team player this year, I don't know if you leave him in the starting rotation over Luzardo. But Luzardo did pitch really well in his last outing. I would say not a fan, but give Walker 2 or 3 more starts. He pitches well. Maybe you do it. Maybe Luzardo out of the pen's a better option than moving Walker back to the pen. Maybe. Baseball stinks. Not enough brothers play. We've had that conversation. Con Air Day. Okay, gotcha. Why is it Con Air Day? Is it the day that Con Air came out? Not even sure. Great movie, though. Remember that 175-inning season from Luzardo? Neither do I. That's fair. That's a fair thing. Absolutely. And what was the stat you messaged me this weekend about? Their record, the Phillies? I want to bring that back up. Taijuan Walker. He's now Taijuan Walker. I don't think there's an H in his name, but I could be wrong. Numbers-wise, actually, he's having a great season, numbers-wise, based off of the expectations that we have for him, Rick. And I give Walker so much credit. With the way last year went, the way he wasn't even used in the playoffs, he was basically just an inactive scratch all playoff long, had a terrible season. We all wanted him gone, you and I both, you know. We all wanted him off. Just pay him to go away, Taijuan Walker. Came in. Oh, I'm definitely the spelling police today. Absolutely the spelling police on this today. Caught a couple spelling errors already today. Based off of everything happened last year in this offseason, for him to come out, be a starter, a reliever, a starter again, a reliever again, a starter again, pitch well in all scenarios. He spent the offseason, got himself in shape, fixed some of his, his pitching technique that was off last year. I give Taijuan Walker so much respect for the way he has performed this year so far. So much respect. All the more reason to slide Luzardo to the pen. I say it. I get you. I got it. And again, he doesn't have the huge innings, so you want to protect him to an extent, Luzardo. Come playoff time, Luzardo and Walker both won't be in the rotation. So we know what Walker could do out of the pen. I mean, good, not great out of the pen. Better as a starter. We don't know what Luzardo could do, so maybe you do it. Where's Eagles training camp? At their stadium, they have a little practice facility next to their stadium called the NovaCare Complex. They do some outside practice, some inside. They don't go somewhere, Bills, anymore. They used to go to the Lehigh Valley. They used to go to Westchester University at times. They used to go somewhere for a camp, but they don't do that anymore. Good morning, Big Al. I don't think All-Star Game should be gone, but I do not want my guys anywhere near. Rest. Yes, let the main. I think Jalen Hurts has influenced this Phillies team a little bit. You listen to Zack Wheeler backing out, everybody not wanting to play in it because they want to focus on the stretch run and get healthy and get right. The let the main thing be the main thing has infiltrated itself into Citizens Bank Park and that clubhouse. I love it. And you know what else I love? And I have let me switch. I have the box score from yesterday's game up. Let me just pull up the schedule for the second half of the season here. I love how they set up the rotation to start the second half. They are giving Wheeler so much. He's not pitching till Monday the 21st. Ranger Suarez isn't pitching till Sunday the 20th. Sanchez the 22nd. They're starting Friday with Luzardo, Saturday with Walker, giving the 3 most important pitchers a full week off. Whoever's decision it was how to line up the Phillies rotation coming out of the All-Star break, absolutely in love with it. Love it. And guys, make sure if you haven't already, hit that. There's only 7 likes on this video. Hit that like button, that share button, that subscribe button, and vote on our poll. We have 7 likes, but 13 votes on the poll. So make sure you guys are hitting all the buttons that you can right now. I'd appreciate it. Have a games in first place, but only 3 games away from being out of the playoff spot. There are no guarantees, and the moves must be made. Yes, that's what you said. I think I thought I did the math this morning. It was 3.5 now after yesterday. But anyway, the Phillies are just as close to missing. They're not going to miss the playoffs. And I know what you're getting at, and I see what you're getting at, and I agree with what you're getting at. but I'm sure that this team is talented enough to hold on to a playoff spot despite all the problems that they have. But Dave Dombrowski absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, has to be overly aggressive and make sure whoever the top pitcher is in the pen that's traded this All-Star this deadline, it come into Philly. The top 2 pitchers have to come to Philly. The top bat that gets traded has to come to Philly. He needs to get aggressive, extremely aggressive. Baseball used to be a sport that transcended location. Urban, suburban, and rural areas all played it. Urban children no longer play baseball at the same levels. Absolutely agree. And I don't know how you fix that, Duck. We've had this conversation briefly. We've touched on it, especially when Miston, comes into the conversation about it. But I don't know how you fix the attention that baseball gets with the youth. Most kids don't want to play baseball anymore. Screw going somewhere for camps. Well, the going for NFL camps to a location and everybody, whatever, it was, looked at as a team bonding experiment, get the team together. But these teams nowadays, pretty much, I would assume all NFL franchises have state-of-the-art, stadiums and training facilities. Why would you go to a college dorm room and have 6'8", 300-pound men sleeping in college dorm beds? It just doesn't. It made sense in the 70s, the 80s, even the early 90s. But nowadays, it just doesn't make sense to do that. To have these guys in uncomfortable situations without the state-of-the-art, training and medical facilities and whatnot. Well, baseball doesn't like you either, because parents are scared to have their kids in danger of getting hit by pitches, but they're willing to let their kids take hits, on the football field. Phillies got to push all in this year for a World Series run. Absolutely. And that's why, we've already spoken about it, about how it's crazy how I was willing to trade every prospect for the last 3 years. Nobody wanted to. Now, all of a sudden, everybody's on board with trading these prospects. It's kind of crazy. Again, we had this conversation about Brent Rooker on Friday, I believe it was, or Thursday last week, Rick. I'm not all in that he has to be the guy. I'm still on the Quan train a little bit more, because Brent Rooker is going to be a issue. We already have a defensive issue. He's going to make it even more. All right, we're not talking that comment from you, Bills, because we don't talk that stuff. Pitching is one thing, but runners in scoring position is a big problem. Over Kepler, over Brandon Marsh, hit or miss issues. Need a player who can spray the ball over the field. Where is Crawford? Well, you got a lot of different comments or answers you need here. Pitching is one thing. The bullpen is a problem. We know that. And I expect at least a mid-level addition, but a mid-level addition and an elite addition would be great. Kepler should have been cut already. He's not. I'm not sure why. Brandon Marsh is getting unnecessary hate, I think, here, because Brandon Marsh, since he's returned from his injury, has been about a 300 hitter. He's not a great hitter, but he's producing better than some of the other guys in our lineup. So I have no issue with Brandon Marsh right now. If you upgrade to Quan in left field and put Brandon Marsh in center field, I'm okay with that. Now, Justin Crawford should be the big outfield addition. And why they haven't, it's got to be financial, because I don't know. There can't be anything else he's got to prove in the minors to get the call up Justin Crawford, unless they're just trying to protect him because they're going to trade him. And everybody's on the table, in my opinion. But Justin Crawford would be the one in the minors that upsets me the most. For what it's worth, Khalil Glad's son was on my son's team. We had all 4 colors represented. I see. Too much ADHD with this generation. They want instant gratification. This digital generation. They need to get out and get scuffed up and run around more. Yeah, absolutely. The problem is we learn out love of sports from our fathers first. Then our friends expand it. Now many fathers don't play sports and kids play video games instead. Yeah, I get that, and that's probably the comment. I learned my love of my teams from my dad, but I didn't learn how to play sports from my dad because he was always working. He took us to Phillies games every Sunday. When he could afford to take us to a Flyers game, he would. Never went to a football game with my dad. He didn't really have a lot of free time to teach me how to hit ground balls and whatnot. So I get that. It's probably like I played plenty of video games as a kid too. My Nintendo NES, Super Mario or Mario Brothers 1 and 2. and Contra and Tecmo Bowl. That was for K1 only, no one else. Oh, gotcha. Whatever. You're in an area that has that level of diversity. It's not always true. Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. What is Rick? Yeah, I don't understand. I see on the side screen that we're losing focus here. No, this screen looks like it's okay. I don't know. I don't know what's with the focus on some people's screens. It is such a shame what football has done to Glad. He has to sit in a quiet area and wear sunglasses all the time for the damage done to football. Yeah, look, there's definitely risks to playing football. Absolutely. Football seems safer because of the safety equipment. Yeah, I like how you go, the safety equipment. Yeah, I don't know. Did the Phillies get knocked out of the playoffs the past 3 years due to offensive shortage or defensive shortage? I think that's a very fair comment, Rick. It's a good counter to my Rooker conversation. We got knocked out because we couldn't score enough runs. You know what? You're spot on. You're spot on with that. It's a very, very fair way to go at it. It's about time you put a good counter punch to my comments out there. All right, so then, but still, what do you do with Rooker? Are you going to play him in left field, or are you going to play Kyle Schwarber in left field? Whatever. I guess you rotate the DHs, and you suck it up defensively. But I'm torn. I'm torn on it, Rick. I'm torn on it. That's why I still love it. I used to go to any MLS games I could and always watch it on TV. But I'm not. So yeah, I'm the same way with that. I would never pay for Apple Plus just for MLS. Nobody gets forced to play anything. That's actually not true. I've heard and read plenty of stories of parents forcing their kids to play sports. Maybe he did. My son is going to LA with his grandparents and going to a Dodgers versus Brewers game. It will be interesting to hear his take on that. Yeah, it's interesting. It's very interesting. I haven't gone to too many non-Phillies MLB games in my life. I've done a few, but not many, and none in a very long time. So I'm not even sure how I would, feel about that overall, or how I would react to that. I will just watch the Premier League on NBC when it's on. I mean, Premier League soccer is just fantastic. It's a great thing. It really is. The Premier League is what got me into soccer overall. When I was traveling, working on cruise ships as a sports fan, on cruise ships in the crew quarters, you got ESPN International, not regular ESPN. So we got a lot of soccer games on TV in our crew rooms. And being a guy that needs to watch competitive sports, I watched it. I learned it. I grew an appreciation for it. Yeah. I heard new Jurassic Park and Silverman stink. I mean, obviously Jurassic Park was going to stink, but Jurassic Park opened to like $500 million worldwide. So people are still going to see Jurassic. So despite Jurassic Park not being needed, people are still going out and paying for it. So yeah. I hear new Jurassic Park makes no sense, but it's just one of those fun movies. Look, yeah, I mean, it's a movie to get Scarlett Johansson, running around, sweating, looking cool. That's all it is. It is what it is. All-Star games ending before a child's bedtime wouldn't be the worst idea. There's a great thing. So you want to create new stars and you want to create new fans. You want to do those two things, right? So let's put an All-Star game on a Monday night. It's probably not going to start till Tuesday night till 8 o'clock. Most kids will be in bed. I think this is another great comment about the All-Star game. Have the All-Star game start at 5 or 6 o'clock, or rearrange it and do it on a Sunday. Have the All-Star game at 1 o'clock on a Sunday. Have them have a Friday, Saturday, Sunday off. Have a Saturday night home run derby, Sunday day game, then give the teams off Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Superman was a good movie. I heard a lot of bad reviews on Superman. I haven't seen it yet. I probably won't go to theaters to see it. I am intrigued to see it because Superman was always my favorite growing up as a kid. So I will watch every Superman movie and TV show always. But we'll see. I'll wait to judge on it. But yeah. Yeah, my audio is fixed. We had a bad mic and stuff like that. The people I bought this soundboard from sent me 2 new mics to replace it. Good to see you. So, baseball purist, you're a purist. What's your answer with the All-Star game? What's your comments on the All-Star game? Should it be canceled? Should there be All-Star games? How do you fix the All-Star game scenario? He's a good person. Soccer is doing itself a disservice by making the games. Absolutely. And I've been saying that's been now, I think we're into our 3rd season of Apple Plus MLS games. It was 2022 when the Union made the championship and lost, right? That was the last time it was on regular TV. So 23, this is our 3rd season on it. Yeah. I was stationed in Korea during the World Cup in 2010. The whole country went nuts. Absolutely. When I was working on cruise ships, my first ship I worked on cruise ships, there were over 900 crew members. There was less than 10 Americans. There were people from 50 different countries. And let me tell you something. When I talk about passion in soccer, because I was on one ship during the Olympics, the Summer Olympics, passion about soccer on a cruise, with working with all those people, it's something that we think we're passionate about, our Eagles and our Phillies and our Sixers. Damn. You don't know nothing about passion until you talk about national pride and certain countries' national teams. It's crazy. New Superman, 7.5, 8 out of 10. Classic Superman and a fun movie to watch and builds on legacy to create something new. Interesting. Baseball and NBA are very accessible. I am the only superhero. I don't know what my K1, what do you think, K1, is my superpower if I had one? Good news, there are 50 other Superman movies there are. I like your idea for All-Star Weekend, Phil, and while we're at it, the Super Bowl should be on a Saturday. Oh, I absolutely agree with the Super Bowl on a Saturday, for sure. Or make Monday a national holiday. Now, I have a feeling at some point the Super Bowl will stay on a Sunday, but it's going to get pushed off the President's Day weekend because eventually there'll be an 18th game, and they're going to have to stretch the season out. So eventually I think the Super Bowl will be held on the Sunday before President's Day, so most commoners will get the next day off. But that's for another time. But, yeah, make these – you want to grow sports, create new fans of sports. You got to think of the kids, how to get the kids to tune in. I always look at my nephew Connor. He just started playing baseball Little League. He's 9. He'll be 10 later this year. He started baseball pretty late compared to things, and only because his best friend, his neighbor, begged him to go. He wanted nothing to do with baseball. And he's grown up in an era with Bryce Harper and the Phillies being good. He didn't grow up like me and you, Rick, watching dreadful Phillies teams. He was only asked to play, begged to play. He had no interest in it. Now he's gotten pretty good at it and he's playing regularly, but that's a different subject. You've got to create new stars. You got to market those stars to the kids, and you got to find a way to keep the kids hooked. Hell, even if you take a kid to a Phillies game right now, how much of the game are the kids actually watching? They're going around these stadiums and playing all the games and walking and doing things. Got to get the kids excited somehow. My favorite comic book hero was Wolverine. I wasn't a huge X-Men fan growing up. I mean, I knew them. I got it. I understood it. I was a Superman guy. I was a Spider-Man guy. And then not Marvel or DC. I was a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles guy and a Transformer guy. They were my top 4 as a kid growing up. It was about, look, we're not putting that up there. The All-Star game should be compulsory. Imagine Soto versus Judge. Imagine Devers versus, yeah, absolutely. Could you imagine it? But it's not. Because they get everything. They're so scared to get creative with ideas. Now, sometimes, the NBA has tried to get creative. The NFL has tried to get creative. All their creative ideas have failed so far with their All-Star games, right? But at least they tried different things. And when it didn't work, they moved on from it. What has baseball tried to do to get creative? I brought it up before. Have legends participate. All right, we're in Atlanta this week. My idea a couple years ago was when it was in Seattle. I think it was 2 years ago. I said, you should have Ken Griffey Jr. in the home run derby. He could probably still swing. Whether he gets 2 out of the park or not, it still would attract people. Braves this week, have Chipper Jones in the home run derby. Might create some more excitement. There's got to be a way to create more excitement for the MLB All-Star game. Asia loves soccer. South Korea and Japan's women's teams being so good recently. Yes, absolutely. They're on local channels. So that's what those sports are all about. Who cares? Exactly. I'm not battling nothing. I don't know about superpower, but pronunciation, yes. The villain would have a name that would be so difficult. It wouldn't be Megatron or Lex Luthor. It would be something that I can't pronounce. Would be my top villain's name would be like the most unpronounceable name in the world. Yeah, eye contact does weaken my powers too. Yeah. You have to find a way to get the parents okay with baseball and into it. MLB is about to lose 2 generations of fans over the next 15 years. Yeah, look, I get that too. For sure. But how do you do it? Why aren't parents okay with baseball? A, it's probably one of the cheapest sports to get your kid involved in. All you got to do is get a bat, glove, and cleats. Well, actually, probably not. That's probably more expensive than basketball sneaks and stuff like that. It's safer than football. Now, it is a little bit more time consuming because there's more games in football. I don't know. I don't know how you do it. All-Star game should be USA versus Japan. I don't know if that really. Yeah, I would say USA versus the world because you got a lot of people from like the Dominican and Venezuela and stuff like that too. Where would they go? I don't know if that fixes it. We tried this in hockey, right? USA versus the world. We didn't try. We tried something else similar to this in basketball, and I can't remember what it was. I don't know if that solves the problem. I don't. I know it sounds barbaric slightly, but baseball should and hockey needs to allow players to police the game more, retaliate. Yeah, look, I know you're big into this, and I know I see your other comment that will bring more fans. I don't know if anything, Rick, and this is, I know the answer that this is going to bring out of you, and I fully expect you to say it, but the parents don't want their kids fighting, and the parents don't want to see their kids fighting, and kids mimic what the stars do. So that's why you see less of it. I know what you're going to say, and I agree, but I don't. I just don't think that that's the answer that's going to solve the problems. Okay. Want to go to any of the yeah, I don't know. Dombrowski needs to GM like he is 38 and not 68. Looking to ride off. Is Dave Dombrowski only 68? Like, to me, I feel like he's 88 years old, the way he walks and looks and stuff like that. But yeah. Ozzy retired who? I didn't like the artists for DC Comics. It was too dark and gothic looking. You know what's funny is I loved dark and gothic looking the way you describe it comics. Hate it, and I hate dark and gothic looking movies. If that makes sense, okay? Wolverine was and is still my favorite superhero. I mean, great kind of superhero too, Shows his flaws last night. Or shows his flaws, absolutely. The fix was in and they didn't win any gold medals. Evolution 2 last night, dude. I watched most of it. I fell asleep towards the end of it. But it was way better than Saturday night's main event. For sure. Absolutely. So there's my wrestling commentary. Guys, you're watching Trend in the AM on the STT Sports Network. If you haven't already, hit that like button. I'm sure there's not enough. There should be 15, 20 likes on this video. Please share and please subscribe. And if you've already subscribed, share it on one of your social media platforms and tell your friends to subscribe. Today, when you're in Wawa getting your coffee, tell the person behind you in line, subscribe, STT Sports Network. And please vote on your poll. Should the All-Star game be stopped? Yes, no, and then my other 2 options, nobody voted for. Some should, but some shouldn't. I love them all. Those have not gotten any votes, guys, but please do your best or do your worst, whatever you prefer, and like, share. There's 17 people watching this right now. There should be 17 likes. We're at 12 likes. So, guys, do your best. We're talking the All-Star game. We're overreacting to Eagles, Phillies, Sixers, whatever you want to talk about. The second half for the Phillies. Yeah, like Adam. What's up with this? No, nobody's putting the effort in. I put the effort in every day. Nobody else is putting that effort in. We can also talk about Gage Wood, 26th pick the Phillies made in the MLB draft last night. We talk about how boring All-Star games are and how much basketball and football put so much effort into their draft. And I didn't even know the MLB draft was starting last night because baseball drops the ball on the draft so much. And I know the baseball draft is super long, but you can make a big deal about the first round of the baseball draft. You could. Anyway, they drafted this 21-year-old kid from Arkansas through a no-hitter in the College World Series, and Phillies fans are already clamoring for him to be in the bullpen. He'll be a starter. He's projected to be a starter, big picture in MLB. But because of his 98-mile-an-hour fastball and because of the Phillies' bullpen issues, Phillies fans and media members and podcast or website writers, what do you want to call them, bloggers, are already saying Gage Wood should be in the Phillies bullpen immediately. And I think that's crazy expectations to put on a 21-year-old kid, first off. It's insane. And if Gage Wood has to pitch for the Phillies, I'm just going to say this right now. If Gage Wood has to pitch for the Phillies this year, then Dave Dombrowski has completely failed at the trade deadline to improve the Phillies bullpen. If Gage Wood pitches, that's all put on Dave Dombrowski. It's Dave Dombrowski's fault if that has to happen. That's completely crazy. Just going to say that. Got to write something down here. The 80s, 90s were very dark DC. I didn't know baseball draft. Yeah, I only knew it because I saw people posting about it. I had no clue. Phil's first 3 picks yesterday were pitchers who went to college. Love that. I have no problem with them taking college kids. It means they'll be ready sooner, for sure, Rick. And we need people in that bullpen. But I don't want a kid drafted 2 weeks later pitching in the bigs. Gage Wood should most likely start in Jersey Shore. Yeah, he shouldn't even be in AAA yet. Like, don't put that kind of pressure on the kid right away. To fix the MLB All-Star game, allow players to live stream. Wow, that's it. Now there, I don't know if that fixes it, okay? I don't know if that fixes it. But that is a creative idea that I'm absolutely, in fact, I'm going to, we'll write this down, 42-minute mark. It's a great creative idea that could bring new fans. Kids are all on their phones. They're all on social media all the time. I love this. I'm not saying it's the answer. I'm just saying that this is an idea. And this is where they do this in all All-Star games. Could you imagine somehow Jimmy rigging a camera to a player for the game, like in basketball or football? Like, there's so much that you could do with this comment right here. Create new stars, bring in new fans. Love it. Love it. Love it. To fix the MLB All-Star game, loser must wear their rivals' uniforms as punishment. Now, that I don't know about. I don't know how that would work, but yeah, that's kind of funny. Gage Wood ain't going to be in MLB this year. Good chance Mason Miller will be a Phillies this year. I mean, yeah, if you're going to go get Rooker, go get Miller too. Get them at the same time, right? Make a package deal, right? I think it's just crazy the amount of people that think Gage Wood is going to be in the Phillies bullpen already. Like, it's crazy. Only dark comic books I liked was Cable, but he was a Marvel too, and he gave Wolverine a run for his money. Use the Oculus to put fans in the game, cameras on helmets, and literally bring the fans in the game. The big deal this All-Star game is they're using the ABS system that they should be using in the pros or in the bigs already. Like, who cares about ABS being in an All-Star game? This is, again, let's expand on this. This is a way to create excitement, but also it's a way to create kind of like the new fans. Like, that's what you want to do. Create new fans. Oh, we're getting deep into the comic book side of it. But you got to find ways to improve these situations. Football's never going to go away. Football is always going to be the number one sport. And their Pro Bowl is useless, and no one cares about it. I get it. You don't have to create new football fans because new football fans are formed every day. But baseball and basketball need new fans. They're struggling to regain fans or retain fans. Create new stars, create new platforms. Now, baseball would never allow the streaming on the things. Why? Because it would get people to turn off the TV. And then TV ratings are all that matters, right? Because that's where the money comes from for them. But big picture, that money's going to disappear over time if you don't create a new generation of fans. And the attention spans and how people consume sports and information has changed. Will change with the times. No human umps, all robots. Well, they're already going with the ABS system on Tuesday. So there's that. What is baseball waiting for? Get ABS Institute ASAP. The single most important rule in the game, a guy leaning over another guy's shoulder to look for balls and strikes. It is antiquated as bleep 100%, Rick. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to pull your comment off. It should be. I was watching yesterday's Phillies game at one point, and I saw a pitch, and I forget at what point. It was a Cristopher Sanchez pitch. He was pitching to a left-handed hitter, and the ball was like a good 6-8 inches above the strike zone. And you saw the ump look like he was about to call it a strike. And I know it would have helped the Phillies in that scenario. But I was like, oh, my God, that ump really considered calling that a strike? Like, it was so bad. It was above the letters. Just do away with it. Just do away with it. I think only 20 or 25 players have ever gone straight to MLB without minors. At one point, it was only like 6. Pete Incaviglia went straight to the majors. Look at the Pete Incaviglia name drop right there. And Winfield. I loved Winfield as a player, as a kid. And Abbott. Yeah, you're talking Jim Abbott, not Kyle Abbott, I'm assuming right there. I like hammering up players' idea. That way you can see what the player is saying. This adds to the game and not. Yeah, it kind of, if you camera up the players, not just for social media, on the broadcast, it kind of gives you that, like, virtual reality feel for it, right? You know, have it on the pitcher and on the hitter or the catcher. I love the catcher cameras. 6 from college straight to the majors. Gotcha. It might be more. Yeah, it probably is more. I like that. You want to keep umps, give them augmented glasses so they can actually see a strike zone and use ABS. I'm sure there's a technology that can exist out there for that, Duck. And if not, I'm sure someone can create it. 1,000%. The strike zone was very confusing. It's very confusing on an everyday basis. And I know the boxes on the screens are not 100% accurate, but it's close enough. It's a good guiding. In 89, my dad gave me $3 for lunch every day. I would skip lunch and walk to the 7-Eleven on Stanton Avenue to buy 2 comic books. Can't get a comic book that cheap. Look, I never collected them. I got them and I read them and I played with them and threw them out or traded them. Never saved anything. Dear Phil, I thought baseball would be out of business by now. Baseball is never going to be out of business. Phil's need edge. Baseball is America's pastime. It's been around for over 140 years. It's never going anywhere. But you can find ways to fix it to make it better. To fix the MLB All-Star game, get rid of the minimum 1-player team requirements. I agree with that 1,000%. I don't, especially if, you know, a lot of people want them to bring back purists. The home field advantage, you know, for the World Series is on the line, which I was against it originally because I don't want a guy I already named some guys earlier. I don't want James Wood. James Wood's a reserve. James Wood, the actor, or James Wood, the baseball player? I don't want him up in the bottom of the 9th inning with the Phillies home field advantage on the line. You know, I don't need that. I don't want that. So if you eliminate the bad teams and the bad players that get on it, then maybe you could do that. But no one wants to see Rockies, Pirates. Well, people do want to see Pirates. They want to see Paul Skeens. So and that's the other thing. Like Paul Skeens, you're trying to create this new superstar in him, right? And he is blossoming into a superstar before our eyes. I mean, he's never going to be a superstar as long as he plays in Pittsburgh. Back in the day, in the 80s, the 90s, whoever was chosen to be the starter of the All-Star game would go 2 or 3 innings. I remember Roger Clemens or Randy Johnson or Greg Maddux just mowing down hitters for 2 or 3 straight innings. And that put your best pitchers in front of people's eyes. Now, nobody goes more than 1 inning. Some don't even go a full inning. Don't need that. You can't create stars if people aren't getting to see them. Baseball purists. The Phillies have several guys. Now, I'm okay that they chose to skip it, to focus, keep the main thing, to take a little of that Eagles culture, that team over everything else. I get that. And I appreciate that. Because I don't care about the All-Star game. Now, if I still had the mentality I did 15, 20 years ago where I cared about the All-Star game, I'd be pissed that the Phillies aren't playing. The Phillies had, 9 guys in the All-Star game last year? What good did that do them? Nothing. So you know what? I'm fine with the Phillies skipping the All-Star game. Especially considering the Phillies organization has gone above and beyond to make sure a Cristopher Sanchez gets his All-Star bonus. It was like $50K or something like that. Have you seen the Schmal Schmeat Schwarber AI video with Kruk and T-Mac? No. Have not. You make things so expensive that a kid can't afford to get into it with their allowance, or even a poor kid can get some access to it. What is keeping many things being successful? Money definitely plays a factor in a lot of that. Okay? A lot of sports don't happen for kids because of money. It is very inaccessible financially for people. Whose situation worse? Bills, a Bosa who hurt if he looked at wrong, or Eagles hoping at prayer draft picks? What? The Eagles are going to the Super Bowl, so I'm not worried about the Eagles. The Bills, we'll see. I'm glad the Phillies chose to get rested for our World Series run. Exactly. Uh-oh. I know you're not a Phillies guy, purist. You're in a room full of Phillies fans, so you better be careful what you say. Purists better not be Core 12. You're not on every show, Bill's Edge, so maybe you're not part of the Core 12. Remember Frank Thomas used to destroy catchers when they blocked the home plate? I do remember that. Now, again, I understand. You want to protect players. You want to make things safer. Who was the All-Star catcher, not in the All-Star game, that got his leg destroyed? Was that Buster Posey? No, it wasn't Buster Posey. Who got their leg destroyed in a collision? And that's then the next year they changed that rule, that the blocking the plate rule and the running to the catcher rule. I forget who it was. One catcher got just absolutely demolished and like shattered his leg on it. I get it. All sports. Rick might say it's getting soft and stuff like that. And to an extent, sports are getting soft. But also, as technology gets better and you want balls and strikes called and stuff like that, you also want to protect the players and protect the athletes. We don't need concussions and bad injuries and stuff like that because we have the technology to avoid it. So I'm on both sides of that. I'm pretty sure he was in one of my Phillies live streams. I know what you're going to say, but you know what? When we have the technology to protect people from getting concussions and not having no life as an adult because, post-playing career because of the injuries they sustained, I get it. You want to use your technology to be smarter, not make it cavemen. It was Buster Posey? Okay, sorry. For some reason, Buster Posey's name popped into my head, but I'm like, I couldn't have thought of that easily. Normally, if I get the answer to my own question that quickly, I'm normally wrong. So I doubted myself on that, Nooms. So it was Buster Posey. Buster Posey is a borderline Hall of Famer, in my opinion. The big hurt, Frank Thomas, man. The reason why soccer, football, and basketball is still the easiest thing to get into. One kid gets a football, soccer ball, or basketball, and a dozen kids get to play. Yeah, absolutely. And in those sports, football, your pads are provided and your helmet are provided for you. Soccer, all you need are cleats, right? Basketball, all you need are good sneakers. Baseball, you need a bat, gloves. Hockey, you need a stick and stuff, and skates and stuff like that. I guess they're the cheapest sports. Any question about catchers? My answer is Mike Piazza. Yeah. Mike Piazza was, yeah. Who was the Mets catcher? He ended up with brain cancer and passed away in the 80s. I was always a huge fan of his because we used to go to Disney World as a kid all the time. So we're going to get on a little side story about catchers here. There used to be this place in Epcot where you can go into this cage and either take baseball swings, tennis swings, or golf swings, and then they have a professional come up on the screen and dissect what you did. It's all pre-recorded, obviously. And I remember the first time this opened, I was like 8 or 9 years old. I went in there, swung. and the catcher from the Mets, and I can't remember his name, came up and told me what I was doing wrong. And obviously, it was whatever. But 8-year-old me thought that catcher, that player, was talking directly to me. I didn't understand the pre-recorded aspect of it back in 1988 or 1987. And I was so fascinated that catcher talked to me about my swing. So fascinated with it. Gary something, Carter? I can't remember his name. I can't believe it is 11 years since that rule was instituted. The Buster Posey, has it been that long now? Damn, it feels like it's been so much longer than that. Howie only had 15 likes. We've been over 20 viewers. We've got over 15 votes. We have 16 votes on the poll. Like, share, subscribe, guys. In 2010, my wife said Buster Posey had almost perfect. Yeah, really. Kids aren't creative enough to come up with stickball or half ball. You can't even buy a pimple ball for less than $5. Yeah, exactly. Gary Carter, that was the guy's name, the catcher for the Mets back in the 80s. I was fascinated with that. And then next year we went, and it was closed down for construction. And I was so pissed because I wanted to get new advice from him the next year. When I was a kid, you were able to get a cheap $5 hockey starter kit with crappy plastic stick. Yeah, look, when I was a kid, we had a basketball. We had courts across the street we'd walk to. We had a hockey sticks and a hockey net. We had footballs. We had baseball stuff. We had literally every piece. I even had tennis. I played tennis as a kid. The only sports I didn't play as a kid were golf and lacrosse. I had every other piece of equipment in my garage, a shed. Okay, and me and my siblings, we played. Me and my friends, we played. Everything. We did it all because it was easy and cheaper. Phil was a genius. I was much smarter as an 8-year-old than I am as a 44-year-old. That is for sure. If you're a catcher and you don't want to get blasted, then don't block the plate. Simple as that. But see, I get it. I know I know how you are, and I know you, Rick, like your thought process, and I get it to an extent. But again, we know how to make the game safer. You've got to understand safety as well. We know more about concussions and stuff like that. Okay? We know all about that. We don't need to do it. We don't need another Jim McMahon. We don't need it was the linebacker that shot himself because of CTE. Like, we don't need that anymore. Okay? We have the ability and knowledge to improve safety and not, what do you call it? How do you call it? The pussification of sports. We have the ability to not hurt people, but also keep the sports fun. To play hockey regularly, you're up at 4:30 a.m. and draining your bank account. Really? So I didn't play hockey. I couldn't skate. I tried. I couldn't. But I loved hockey growing up. Look, I get it. Junior Seau, he was. Yeah, that's right. Chargers. San Diego Superchargers. So you thought the real Nolan Ryan was just sitting there in 1980s technology waiting to coach her? Yeah, absolutely. Whoever was up on that screen, I was all into it. All into it. You played a ball and wall game called Suicide or Rear End. There was at Holy Cross, the elementary school I went to in Springfield, PA. We had a big cement recess yard, no grass on the recess yard. There were 2 giant brick walls in the yard, and we used to play wall ball. And it was that what a rear end, like there was something that you had to stand with your hands up against the wall, like in a police situation, and you get beamed with the balls if something happened. Did that all the time, and those rubber balls burned when you'd get hit in the back or the ass with it. You'd end up with welts on you, especially if one of your your recess like enemies had that ball. Damn, that hurt all the time. The basketball court, 8 years at Holy Cross, the basketball courts were broken the entire time. You threw the football around on the cement, or you played wall ball. That was it. Johnny Bench used to have a TV show that taught kids baseball rules and techniques for the positions. Used to answer questions that came in mail. Yeah, like whatever happened to what was the Saturday morning baseball show with Tim McCarver? I mean, a baseball show at 9 a.m. on a Saturday might not work anymore, but if you do that on like social media, it would. You got to attack kids in social media aspects now because they're on their phones. They're not in front of a TV. I had a few concussions playing football. I'm only slightly crazy, relatively speaking. Yeah. I think I had one concussion. Was never fully diagnosed, but yeah, definitely bothers me. Correct, but football is a contact sport. Don't like people getting hurt either. Like, I was always told I wasn't allowed to play football because it was dangerous. And guess what? Playing a pickup game of football when I was 21 shattered my leg. And now I could barely walk anymore. So, yeah, football's dangerous. Ass ball was great, yeah. Wall ball and red ass. Yeah, dude, you know what I'm talking about, Big Al. You know about those basketball courts that were broken. I broke my foot playing football in the recess yard. I do remember that. That was a bitch. I did make the catch. And it was a touchdown. But yes, those brick walls, and here's only Big Al will remember this, but this is directed at Big Al here. Remember, we used to have to do the gym where the physical fitness test, okay? And we had to run for the mile run that you had to do part of the V-sit and reach, and different things you had to do for the fitness test. One was you had to run a mile. And I remember we start run the yard, right? And you had to run behind the brick walls. While everybody was running, I would hide behind the brick walls and wait for everyone to make their second lap, and then I would join them. Because I would cut one lap out of my mile time like that. Just so you know, I used to do that all the time. Call it ass and wall ball. It was always a wall ball to me. Baseball brunch. This week in baseball. Yeah, whatever. Like, when I was a kid, I couldn't wait to watch the latest episode of This Week in Baseball. Learn about the players, the stars of the game. Now, This Week in Baseball, as it was done in the 80s and early 90s, I don't think would be a successful show nowadays. But they could do something similar. Have it on YouTube, have it on TikTok, have it on Instagram, have 2-minute videos, 5-minute videos. Get the kids excited about players. Learn about the players. Dude, I remember, I have this random memory, and I don't even remember every detail about it. But I got this partial memory here, okay, of watching some kind of a baseball TV show. And Terry Mulholland, and purists, you may or may not know who Terry Mulholland was. He was a Phillies pitcher. Very, very, very popular on bad teams. Best pickoff throw in the history of baseball, Terry Mulholland. And this video that I have this partial memory of was him talking about life outside of baseball while he was sitting at his kitchen table eating a bowl of cereal. I don't remember what the cereal was. But he had a box of cereal, he was sitting eating his cereal, and he was being interviewed. And I just thought that was the coolest thing as a kid. Watching him just be an average Joe Schmo, eating cereal, talking baseball, talking life. But that's a problem. Now, All-Star Weekend this weekend. A lot of people are upset, obviously, that they put Jacob Mizorowski, however you say his name, when you're trying to grow a star. You don't need the legends pick of Clayton Kershaw out there. Bring in a couple stars. We got to find ways to create new stars that fans and kids can latch onto. Once kids start to get bigger, it's not the best idea to play tackle on the playground. Yeah, I learned that plenty of times. We didn't actually play tackle football at Holy Cross. We played rough touch football, as I would like to call it. This Week in Baseball, wasn't that a review show that had the highlights? There were highlights. It was kind of like Baseball Tonight, but also they did interviews, behind the scenes. They went into the clubhouses and stuff like that. There were reviews in it, too, and highlights, but it was a lot more than just highlights. Chipped my tooth in the recess yard playing football in tan buck shoes. Yeah, we used to have to wear the ugliest school shoes. I don't know about you. I used to go to B&S Shoes in Upper Darby to get my school shoes every year. That's not there anymore, obviously, but yeah, or maybe it is still there. I don't remember. You have to condition your body for football before you start playing. You have to run, do drills, and hit the sled first. And my man Jason, who hosts Fairway to Heaven with me on Tuesday nights, his kid Jax, he's now at the age where he's stepping up from flag football to tackle football. And while Jax isn't scared at all as the kid, I know Jason is scared out of his mind that his kid's going to be playing tackle football for the first time this fall. I think he said training starts in August for it. But you got to create stars. And all-star games are the perfect opportunity. Where I think all-star games should be stopped, I also understand if you change the way you do all-star games in sports, you could create new stars. And by creating the new stars, you would grow the game. Our poll right now, should all-star games be stopped? Right now, 47% of the people that voted so far said yes. 47% said no, And one lackey said some should, but didn't say which ones. So that's that right there. Guys, if you haven't already, hit that like button, that share button, subscribe button. It's trending in the AM on the STT Sports Network. Let's check here. Where are we at? Still stuck on 547. Still stuck at 15 likes. B minus, C plus work from you guys today. It's another great idea. This is actually another fun idea right here. Why not? Make the Savannah Bananas part of All-Star. Is there anybody on the Savannah Bananas? I can't say Savannah Bananas that's a home run hitter? Put the Savannah Banana guy in the home run derby? Tonight's the home run derby. I mean, look at these names. Now, Cal Rowley from the Mariners, I know he's leading the league in home runs at 38. It's an insane number. But I don't know who he is. James Wood, the actor or the player. You can put either up there. I wouldn't know who he is. Byron Buxton, at least I know him. Okay? O'Neal Cruz from the Pirates has 16 home runs. I don't care about him. Junior Caminero from the Rays, nobody knows him. Brent Rooker, at least we know who he is because we want to trade for him. Jazz Chisholm, we know him from the Marlins. He ain't a home run hitter. I know he's got 17. Matt Olson from the Braves, who cares? It's the least star-studded home run derby of all time. I'll watch it, sort of, tonight. But by the time the gummy kicks in by round 2, I'll be out. When I was a kid, I never missed a minute of the home run derby. Now, come on. Unless you're putting Aaron Judge against Juan Soto on the bracket of the home run derby, Pete Alonso, I don't care about it. Got to create characters. I don't know if you need goons or good, but I get that. You got to create personalities. Well, I don't know if you could create personalities, Rick, but you definitely can show off the personalities of players a little bit better. Like, how many people know? I mean, us diehards, Rick, know. But how many people know that Matt Strom has a great YouTube channel where he opens baseball card packs up and stuff like that? Why aren't they tapping into that? And he's not even the greatest personality. Baseball's doing everything ass backwards and not creating those new stars. Used to play tackle football on the concrete back in the day. They could never tackle me, so I would never felt, yeah. TJ Watt may be on the move. Maybe. Savannah Bananas is corny as it is, but it's also entertainment. What is sports, Rick? It's entertainment. Okay? Savannah Bananas are selling out stadiums across more kids. If you went out there and polled 100 kids at a Little League game, okay? Or field, okay? Would they rather go see the Savannah Bananas or the Phillies take on the San Diego Padres? I bet you more would choose the Savannah Bananas. It's just the way it is. You could throw in a few celebrities in between the rounds. Sure. I've always said you've got to throw. I've been saying for 2 years now, bring in the biggest legend, the youngest, biggest legend in the home team's history. Braves, Atlanta this year, Chipper Jones. Chipper Jones is in his early 50s. He could probably still hit a dinger or two. A couple of years ago, Seattle, you could have had, Ken Griffey Jr. Last year, Texas, you could have brought out home run derby, superstar, Josh Hamilton. Philadelphia, next year, you could bring out Ryan Howard or somebody like that. Got to do something to excite the fans. The Card Life, what? The Card Life's the name of his show. Yeah, gotcha. Does he? I wouldn't know that. So when football players create personality because you can't see their faces, I guess since they are recognized more easily. Interesting. The Savannah Bananas are selling. Yeah, they're selling out so much. Whether it's cheesy or corny or not, it's exciting to casuals. Exactly. Yeah. How do you feel about the Phillies? Good morning, Zach. How are you? I feel that the Phillies absolutely better be making some very aggressive moves at the trade deadline without a shadow of a doubt. And not one or two, like 3 moves. They need pitchers, relief pitchers. They need an outfielder. They might need an infielder, too. If Alec Boehm's injury is more serious, Bryson Stott hasn't hit a baseball in 6 months. The Phillies are a great team that are going to make the playoffs. But unless they are super aggressive at addressing their holes, are going to be one and done in the playoffs again. And that's a big fear of mine. Kids will choose the Savannah Bananas, but adults choose the real pro sports, and the adults have the money. Are the adults choosing the real sports? Because, again, the Savannah Bananas are selling out baseball stadiums across the country. So the adults are doing what the kids want, not what they want. Little kids are amazed by the littlest things like the Savannah Bananas. It's fun. Why do you think the Harlem Globetrotters, like TMZ mentioned, have been selling out stadiums for 50 years now? A lot of MLB teams selling out parks too. Absolutely, for sure. It took me a second. I lost train of thought. Do you want to trade Nick? I do not want to trade Nick Castellanos. At this point, he's our best outfielder. Does he have flaws? Absolutely. Does he frustrate the hell out of me? Absolutely. But Nick Castellanos is our best outfielder at this point. So no, you don't trade him. You can't. You got to cut Max Kepler and find someone to play left field. Bring in Hurts or a player from the Super Bowl, or let's think of celebrity baseball movies. The star try to hit a few dingers. Yeah, have the rookie have what's his name from the rookie try to strike out somebody. Cooper DeJean, yeah, put him in the home run derby. I don't want to put any risk on Jalen Hurts getting hurt. Absolutely no, you feel that way, and they better be aggressive to make that happen. I thought Boehm just had a contusion. Yeah, they're saying it's minor, but you never know. You never know. The Bananas are everywhere, okay? Phillies ballpark is pretty packed every game. Absolutely, I'm not saying it's not. But for as cheesy as you think the Savannah Bananas are, there's a massive market for it, okay? And seeing some of them or have them a part of All-Star Weekend might bring – you put the Savannah Bananas part of All-Star Weekend, those casual kids that are into that might tune into baseball, might find a new favorite player, might become a Paul Skeens player, or fan, or whatever. Just throwing names out there. How do you get pitcher if you don't want to trade players? I want to trade players. I'll trade anybody. Nobody wants Nick Castellanos for a stud outfielder or for a stud pitcher. They want your prospects. So Andrew Painter, Mick Abel, Aiden Miller, Justin Crawford, all those guys and more are all on the table right now for trades. That's how you get players, Zach, not by trading the current players. Now, if a current player was younger, maybe a Brandon Marshall, a Johan Rojas, or even a Bryson Stott might have some trade value to a bad team that's not a contender to trade their star players. But Nick Castellanos isn't the centerpiece of trading for making a trade. Adults want to be entertained, and if they can enjoy it with their kids and get kids into watching MLB with the parents, my dad was passionate about baseball. I became a fan of the Phillies because my dad took me to games. Now, also, Phillies games back in the 80s at the Vet were a lot cheaper. What were those 700 level tickets, like $4 on Sundays? You could sit anywhere and work your way down to the lower level. My dad took us to half a dozen games a year. What average middle-class family can afford 6-8 games a year nowadays? If you have 2 kids, and we had 5 kids in my family growing up, what average family with 2 kids can afford more than 1 or 2 Phillies games a summer? Yeah, if you have 2 kids, you, your wife, and your 2 kids go to a ball game, you're looking at a $400 tab. Tickets, food, whatever else. When is Philly going to host an All-Star game again? The Phillies are hosting it next year. The MLB All-Star game is in Philly in 2026. There's some other things. World Cup's in 2026. With it being the 250th anniversary of our country, a lot of stuff's happening in Philadelphia next year. 30 MLB teams, 162 games a year. Not including playoffs. Ain't selling out 6,000 games. It's a gimmick. Yeah, I get it. But you're calling it cheat. You're trying to downgrade what it is, and there's a massive market for it. And the numbers speak on the market. Looks like to me like Painter is working on secondary pitch command, nuances, no walks yesterday, very possibly could be up soon. His numbers are misleading. Now, I have not watched like you. I know you watch all the minor league games, Nooms. I do not. So maybe that is the case. And I am not off on Andrew Painter. Like, there's a lot of people that are saying that, oh, he's a bust now, or he's not the same, or just trade him away now that his value's low. No. Andrew Painter is still a stud. Now, you're limiting his innings this year because of his arm injury history and stuff like that. So I don't know if it's necessary to bring him up. You don't need another starting pitcher right now. But I'm not out on Andrew Painter like others. In college, my buddies and I would go to the vet, get those nosebleeds, and just spend the afternoon watching the game. Yeah, me too. I used to bring my glove too, because we'd always work our way down, right? Best player on the Phillies right now is Zack Wheeler, arguably one of the 5 greatest pitchers in Phillies history at this point. Zack Wheeler, if you don't want to go pitcher because pitchers only pitch every 5th game, if you're going to the fielders, I guess Kyle Schwarber would be the best. Maybe Trea Turner. What would be the argument? Who's the best player out of the starting 9? Schwarber or Turner, probably. Bryce Harper, I guess. Philly Freedom Phil. What about that? My wife and 2 kids went to the game last Sunday. All in. 6. Exactly. And you probably didn't get you weren't staying in a Diamond Club, Big Al. Well, maybe you were, but not for $600. Exactly. That's $600. Shit. Back in 1989, you could do the same thing at the vet for $30. And you were allowed to bring coolers into the game back then. So you didn't have to spend all that money on concessions. Now, Nooms watches a lot more minor league baseball than me. So if Nooms saying that, I'm going to trust him. I'm not going to fact check him on it. I just don't think it's necessary because they're starting to rotate. We're already talking earlier in the show about what to do with Luzardo when Nola comes back or Walker. So you have that plethora of pitching right now in the starting. Unless you're going to put Painter in the pen, which I don't think it's necessary or the right move for him. Otherwise, you just let him roll out the year in AAA and then go from there. Because it was like $5 to get open tickets at the window day of. And yeah, absolutely. We used to bring a whole bag in back then. Absolutely. By the 7th inning, you'd be in the 300 level or 400 level. Used to get free ticket out of my ballpark Franks and get a ticket to a doubleheader. 2 for a price of 1. I love it. That's great. I love it. Love it. Absolutely. Absolutely, Big Al. There was something special about going to the vet. There really was. Maybe it's just the childhood memories, spending time with the pops, and stuff like that. But I have so many fond memories. I still remember my first Phillies game, 1986. I don't remember the game itself, but I know it was Phillies versus the Mets. And I know they gave out a wristwatch with the Phillies on it. Okay? To all kids, 13 and under, 12 and under. And I had that for a long time. I lost it, about 10, 15 years ago. But I had it for a very long time. And I remember that game because my neighbors, who it used to be called Risque Videos, now it's Club Risque owners, had the box seats at the game. And it was the first time I went to a game and I got to sit in the box seats. The vet was ghetto, but it was my ghetto. It was my baby ghetto. I loved it. I don't care how ghetto it was. Still loved it. Walking up the ramps, circling the stadium. Come on. It was special. How do you feel about Reginald Dwight's song about Philly? I don't know what song you're talking about. Guys, you're watching Training the Game. We're coming up to the final 10. Like, share, subscribe, guys. Jam-packed week. We'll talk Phillies all week long. We'll talk All-Star stuff again tomorrow, Home Run Derby and the All-Star game. We'll get into, I know Nooms wants to, we will get into my NFL training camp power rankings. Maybe we'll bring that up tomorrow. We'll see how the conversation goes tomorrow and the day after. I'm actually thinking of trying to get a guest on Wednesday morning to talk the Open Championship from Royal Port Rush as well. Philadelphia Freedom. But back to this comment. The vet was the ghetto. But you know what? It was my ghetto. It was your ghetto. Loved it. Who cares? You can see the heat radiating off the turf, okay? Don't care. Favorite ghetto memory was going to the Mitch Williams 4:40 a.m. hit game. Wow. Did you make it all the way to the end? Because my favorite memory was 1991, okay? Phillies versus Dodgers. It was a fireworks night in July. We always went to Sunday games. We went to a Saturday night game that year for the fireworks. Kyle Abbott, not Jim Abbott, Kyle Abbott was 1-14 that year, or 1-13 that year. That one win came the night I was at it, okay? And he only went 5 2/3. He gave up 4 runs, but the Phillies had an offensive outburst that game. And I just remember the packed stadium because they would always pack the stadium, no matter how bad they were on fireworks nights, because the Phillies always have put on great fireworks displays. The stadium was packed. And Kyle Abbott coming off the mound in the 6th inning, only giving up 4 runs that game, and he got a standing ovation from the crowd. And I so vividly remember that. So I missed out on my first Phillies game from winning the tickets from the summer reading program or summer reading program. Parents didn't trust the librarians to chaperone, and my parent worked, so I didn't go. Oh, that sucks. That sucks. Because I had just seen the firm and got out at 1 a.m. and they were about to start the game. Yeah, that was crazy. That was a crazy 4:40. I remember waking up the next morning and be like, that game went that long? Wow. Damn. Crazy. Crazy. Nowadays, they would just postpone the game and finish it the next day, right? Probably not. But anyway, what have we talked about today? We've talked about the All-Star game a lot. And I got to say, baseball purist idea. And now we've compounded on it. I've written down some time marks here. I'm going to try to get some shorts and some clips to post about this. There's got to be a way in sports to create new stars for baseball, maybe basketball, for hockey. Yeah, it was a 2-night doubleheader. Yeah, it was. Yeah, absolutely. I still remember going to a Phillies Marlins doubleheader in like 98 or 99, and my friend's dad took us. And it was the first time I ever got beer bought for me by someone's father, and he had us drinking so much that night. I was like 18 years old, and I was just smashed at the vet. And it was me, my buddy. It wasn't even my buddy's dad. It was my buddy's girlfriend's dad who took us at all. And he got us so drunk that night. It was kind of funny, actually. But doubleheaders were great for that, kind of getting smashed on one ticket for 2 games and stuff like that. Gotta find ways to create stars. It's a problem in golf. For those of you that watch my golf show on Tuesday nights, we always talk about the lack of star power in golf. You've got to find ways to create stars that kids can latch on to. And I don't think the Padres are coming back here. Probably not. I still remember the replay of the Harry Callis call on the hit too. Yeah, crazy. I don't know what the latest. I think I went to one doubleheader. The second game went 11 innings. But I think it ended at like 1 a.m. or something like that. I think that was the latest I ever was at the vet or or the bank. That was Citizens Bank Park, that game, I think. That might have been at the vet. I don't remember. Did a couple doubleheaders on one ticket with the Pirates and the Diamondbacks. They're fun if you got the time and the energy. Nowadays, I could never make it through a doubleheader, I don't think. I think I'm too old and tired and lazy to sit through back-to-back baseball games at a stadium. But you know what? It'd be fun. Maybe someday I'll do it again. Maybe someday I'll have that energy again to do that kind of stuff. Anyway, guys, we're coming up to the end. How Adam, we still stuck at 15 likes? I have no idea. Very C+ work from everybody. I was heckling former Phillies third base coach Dave Bristol for no reason at all. I mean, the reason was for no reason. I mean, why wouldn't you, right? I mean, was there a reason not to heckle him? If you come up with a reason not to heckle, whatever. Don't even know what you mean by that one. That one right over my head. So we got lots to going on. Am I right to say that this is probably the most boring week in sports? Before training camp, summer league, whatever, MLB All-Star game. There's no baseball till Friday. The most boring week in sports right now. We haven't gained a new subscriber in a few now, Adam. We've been kind of hovering here at 546, 547 for a little while here. It's kind of boring, right? Nobody's doing their job. I am busting and grinding every day. But anyway, whatever. I'm here for you guys, whether it's 547 of you or 5,047 for you. Oh my God, Google Lee 83 rant on the New York Post. Enjoy. I already closed my book. Guess I got to open my book back up. Lee Elia 1983 rant. Got a bunch of things to work on here today at work. Okay, gotcha. It's written down in the book. We'll see if I get to it today. I got to work today, but I also got a lot of other stuff to do too. But anyway, with that being said, guys, like, share, subscribe, do your worst, do your best. The voting poll is coming to an end here. Should the All-Star games be stopped? Yes, got 42%. No, got 53%. One sucker voted some should, but I don't know which ones they want canceled or not. And no one voted I love them all. Okay, gotcha. I mean, I was born in 1980, so not my prime baseball knowledge, but that is what that is. So we'll have a jam-packed week this week. We're going to have fun this week. Personally, I will turn on the home run derby tonight. My best guess is I do not make it to the end. I most likely will not make it to the end. So I will be box score checking who won the home run derby tomorrow morning, right before I go live. So I'm going to rely on you crazies that actually stay up and watch it, whether it's entertaining or not. Thank you, Adam. It's always a great show. Anytime I'm live. I don't have any catering on right now this week. So you might actually get a full 5 shows from me this week, right? Knock on wood, you don't, because if you don't, it means if I miss a show, it means we got a big order. So, and the big orders are very important. So, but anyway, with that being said, guys, I'm going to wrap it up here. Enjoy the home run derby if you're into it tonight. If not, come up with more great ideas. We got to come up with more great ideas on how to improve All-Star games in all the sports. And let's keep breaking them down all week long. And we'll do the training camp power rankings this week as well. Guys, everybody have a great day. It's Monday. A lot of rain tonight in the forecast, but everybody have a great day. Go Birds still. Oops. Almost didn't even play the outro video. Everybody have a great day. Go Birds. Bubbles up.